Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show that X's out all of the other podcasts. Well, not really, because, we're a family here on the X Fan Show. I am one of your hosts, Dirty. I don't see Arlington today because he's not feeling well. But I have two special guest hosts with me today, but I'm not going to put them on because we're all going to have our hats on a certain way today. We already discussed it. I see them in the backstage flipping their hats around. These two gentlemen are part of the X-Fan Legion. They are from the Smoking Guns podcast, the one, the only Leo and Philip. How are you guys today?
Who else is coming on? You said you had two special guests, and I get Leo, but who's the other special guest? I don't.
Hey, Phil. See, you want to hear the difference between this show and your show? I can mute you. You see how that works?
Mm-hmm.
But no, thank you guys for joining me. My compadre is not feeling well today, so
Get better, A-Train.
right,
Yeah,
we need him in San Antonio. So the reason why you guys are on, you guys have such a great show on Monday nights, and why don't you guys just give your little cheap plug right now to your great show that you guys have?
We are the Smoking Guns podcast. We cover professional football in and around San Antonio. That's all inclusive. It includes the Brahmas, the San Antonio Brahmas of the XFL, which is how we connect into your show. But we also cover the San Antonio Gunslingers of the National Arena League. They are 4-0. They are tearing up indoor football right now. If you don't know how fun indoor football is, go to YouTube once you're done watching this show. Like, don't leave now. Watch the rest of the show. But go to YouTube when you have some time and look up National Arena League and just watch a few minutes. Watch the back half of the San Antonio-Albany game from earlier this year and tell me you don't have
Oh,
a good time.
my God. You are absolutely right. What a fun game to watch. It was a great game to watch. And I am a Gunslingers fan. Now, so
We
I watch
converted
it.
him.
You guys did. Well, and it didn't help that when we were at your guys' tailgate where Leo's wife made that such wonderful stew deal, the jigger, whatever it was that she made. What's it called again, Leo?
It was a barbacoa omelet.
Yeah, whatever the hell that was. I mean, it was absolutely phenomenal.
Phenomenal?
And, yes, I would say, listen, this is the afternoon show, Phil, so I can't say certain words.
Sure.
I cannot say certain words, so I would have put an F word in there. It would have been effing nominal, so I can't put that word in there. But no, it was good, so yeah. So the reason why you guys are on is championship week. We're here. One man is down, but it's still the championship week. We have the XFL.
Is the XFL still going on? Because once the Brahmas was out, I didn't really. Is that still happening? Are we still doing the XFL thing? Like, that still happen?
Well, I mean, you wouldn't know if you didn't watch our show or your guys' show, so you wouldn't really know if the XFL was still going on, right? I mean, there
Well,
hasn't been a whole lot put out, right? Other than the menu.
right. Yeah, not a whole lot. We happen to know because there's an event happening this weekend in our own backyard, but outside of that, we probably wouldn't know a thing.
Right.
Right. So, okay, first, then the reason why you guys are coming on because you guys are in San Antonio. Championship
Yep.
game is in San Antonio.
Yep.
What are we seeing in San Antonio? I don't
As
like that
far
answer.
as
like that
we are
answer.
seeing the Smoking Guns podcast covering what's happening. Yeah, there's there's not a whole lot going on at this moment in the city of San Antonio leading up to this event. If you're not following the XFL online or subscribe to an email, there's not really a whole lot of visibility, shockingly, in the city of San Antonio as to what's happening this weekend. Believe that or not.
Okay, Phil.
Well, the mayor here says kick the hater off the show. I'm sorry, Mayor, I can't. He's in charge. There's nothing I can do about that.
I don't think he's talking. I don't think he's talking about you. I don't think. Oh, okay. So look, I mean, there is something going on. There is a big show May 12th at the Alamo Beer Company.
There is.
The
And
X
frankly,
Fan show. Go on, Phil.
I've seen more from the X-Fan Legion and the X-Fan Nation about our show at the Alamo Beer Company, which we're going to talk about here in a few minutes, I'm sure. I've seen more about that on social media than I have really championship stuff coming from the XFL. But this all feeds back into something we've talked about all season long to me. And that is simply that this is for lack of a better word, this whole season has been a dry run where the XFL says we're going to spend minimal amount of money and see what we get out of this and take our data. And then year 2, we're going to blast out there, in the places we know it needs to go, in the time slots and networks it needs to be on. This is all just kind of a dry run.
See, the mayor did yell at me. I've been very busy and I know. I mean, I know that one logo was messed up, and I apologize. I know the address isn't on there. So would you guys like to tell us where the address is for the Alamo Beer Company?
Yeah, Leo's going to grab that right now. But I would say to the mayor, do you have a smartphone? Because it's Alamo Beer Company.
Phil, don't piss the mayor off. Don't piss the mayor off, Phil. Don't piss the mayor off. What's wrong?
I'm just saying, there's ways we can find that information now.
Don't piss the mayor off, Phil.
Leo's going to give it to you here in just a second, but I'm just saying, there is a way you can search that. And,
you're right.
and
Yeah.
find that.
Don't piss the mayor off, But yeah, so Jared said thanks to Jared, who's part of the X-Fan Legion, who will be there representing the Standing Guard podcast out of Orlando. He said he found the address and added it
Nice.
to
Yes.
his Facebook post.
202.
So I do appreciate that.
I didn't want to interrupt, but yeah,
Go
it
ahead.
is Alamo Beer Company.
Mm-hmm.
Not Alamo Beer Hall, Alamo Beer Company.
Right.
202 Lamar Street, San Antonio, Texas, 78202. It's just north of the Alamo Dome by probably not even a mile, so it's very close. And there's a big bridge that runs right over it. So if you see the big rust-colored bridge, you are in the right place. There is a very large parking lot.
Or for the mayor, it is E3 on Maps Go page 41 or whatever that is. I don't know.
And
Do y'all remember
Gertie will be
Mapsco?
drinking some Brahma beer while we're there.
Yes, as well as other things.
The Brahma beer. So, anyway, I mean, let's really get to it. I mean, where do we want to start? Do we want to start the championship game, or do we want to start with the podcast and everything that's going, or the big show, or where do we want to start? To me,
it's your show.
Well, I mean, listen, Arlington's not here. He's the one that usually dictates everything. I just talk, But let's get into the championship game, right?
Sure.
So we know it's DC and the Renegades, right? I know that you guys talked about it. I went back and rewatched your guys' show. Watch that first part of your guys' show. It's the Renegades versus DC. And I mean, I'm kind of conflicted on this. I've always been a huge Luis Perez fan. I think me and Arlington have talked about it. We've sung Luis Perez's praise. I think he is absolutely the smartest spring football quarterback there has been. Right, yes, exactly. Cheer for the players, not the team.
That's
right.
Yeah. That's a good philosophy.
Right. I'm excited that we actually got a championship game since
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
Right. I'm excited.
Fair
you
point.
know what I mean? And then you have the Renegades, which a lot of people were upset. Oh, they're 4-6. Well, guess what? Phil was even upset by it, right?
I still think next year
this.
they need
I
to
like
look
it.
at this one.
Right there.
Yeah.
Hashtag Spring King Perez. I like that. We should start that as a hashtag. Good one, Chris. All right,
I
Phil,
noticed, Leo, that you don't correct Dirty's pronunciation every time he says
I was
Perez.
about to, and even on the way that Chris spelled it out, the accent mark is over the first E, because the correct pronunciation of that young man's last name is actually Perez. Why everyone insists on saying Perez is beyond me, but it is Perez. Luis Perez.
Well, okay, I'm just gonna say.
Now you know.
Dirty.
I've been dealing with Perez because I don't know how to roll a tongue. I don't know how to roll an R.
Dirty. I've been dealing with this for 4 years because we started talking about Luis Perez way before even the Commanders took a snap. Our very first show, Leo brought up Luis Perez and wanted to make sure that we knew that this guy was going to be something special. He was hoping that he would be a San Antonio Commander. He's been on that train since the beginning of this new iteration of spring football. So we've been watching this guy for a while. He's special. I mean, he has played on a high level in spring football in 3 other iterations, and now he is playing for a championship here. He was in the Birmingham Iron in the AAF. He played for the LA Wildcats. He played for the New Jersey Generals. Now he is going to play for a championship with the Arlington Renegades.
Well,
the guy knows what he's doing in spring football.
Yeah, I mean, like right here, I butchered names, so I'm not even going to bother saying his name. But the game was tight in Audi Field, and with Luis, they have a functioning offense now, right? Okay. Okay. So the mayor wants you to say Ta'amu, Leo.
Ta'amu.
Oh, okay. Okay, there we go. But anyways, I mean, this is going to be an interesting game, right? I mean, now, Phil, like I said, we'll go back to it, the way this whole system was set up, right? Come on, Phil. Chime in. You know you want to. I'm going to goat you. I'm going to goat you, Phil. This whole system was set up, right? The top 2 teams in each division made it, right? I can't help it that your division, the South Division, was garbage compared to my division, the North Division.
You're not wrong. Look, that's the way it was set up at the beginning of the season. It is what it is. Arlington is going to play for a championship, and they've got just as good a chance as DC to win because we know they played to a tie just a few weeks ago. So this is really a wide open game. And in this particular league, the parity is such that the top and the bottom aren't that far apart. If you need evidence of that, go back to that DC and Orlando game where Orlando is the only one that hands DC a loss. DC clearly the best team in the league all season long. Orlando clearly the worst team in the league all season long. So the parity is set up. My contention is not that it needs to be changed now or that Arlington doesn't belong there. None of that is true. They played by the rules.
Now listen, Phil, you better be careful. Because I have the mute button, and I will mute you real quick if you say something dumb.
But I feel like it would make more sense going forward if the 2 division winners earn their spots in the playoffs, and then the next 2 best records, despite division, get into the playoffs. We want to see the 4 best teams, and the way you prove you're the best team is by having the best record. St. Louis was better than Arlington based on don't shake your head, based on the record, 7-3 is better than 4-6.
Okay.
Objectively better.
I can tell you this. I can tell you this. There are not whispers of setting up wild cards. I can tell you
but
that
that's
right
what
now.
this is. This is a wild card system. I know you don't like that word. I don't care if you don't like it. But that's what this is. And the wild card should really go.
Here she goes. Here she goes.
The wild card should go to the best record. Now, look, again, I am not saying that Arlington doesn't belong here or that this isn't fair. None of that is true. We knew from the beginning of the season this was the way it was set up. I am saying going forward, I think there's a better way to set up the system so that we have the best teams in the league playing for the championship.
Now, Leo, since you actually know how to talk correctly, right? Would you like to pronounce this guy's name for me?
I would say it's Jan Dusenberry.
Okay.
That's my guess.
Yeah. Right. That's my guess. Jan, my question to you is. Oh, okay. I apologize. The mayor's yelling at me. The mayor says you're an idiot. So the mayor said Dean Blaine. So Juan, I apologize. Okay. So he said talked about wild card games on the official XFL podcast. Okay, I apologize. Oh, he says you're correct. So Juan, I apologize. That very rarely happens. I don't ever apologize. But anyways,
ever.
I disagree. Now, I disagree. I think it's the way it's set up is the way it's set up, right? First of all, the Battlehawks were even lucky that they're 7-3. I've said this before. They should have lost in San Antonio. They should have lost in Seattle, but they didn't. But they didn't. You know, all I'm saying is this. It was set up the way it was set up. We have to accept it, right? We have to accept it. If you want to go to a true wildcat or wild card format, right? You have to move to a longer season. Yes, you do.
No, you don't.
You're done shaking your head. Leo, what do you think?
I'm fine with it the way it is.
Thank you.
I've always been a proponent of divisions. You fight within your division, you fight for a champion, and then you have the championship from two separate divisions. Fight, have a match or championship game for the championship of the league. That's just the structure here. It's not like it's anything revolutionary or anything different. Yes, teams get left out that have a better record, but that's just how it goes. I mean, I'm okay with it. I can understand the desire to change things up and have a different format with a league with only 8 teams. I get that, but I don't have a problem with the way it's structured now.
Right, yeah. So, whatever. It's done what it is. You know, we see where it's at. You know, feel like you made some great points that Arlington, you go back to the scores. If you really look at the scores of the games, me and Arlington had talked about it a while back on the show, right? And you're right. It's like we didn't know. We didn't know which division was going to be weaker.
No.
Each division
no idea.
Had their own. They were all the same. I mean, we've had Taylor Russolino on, right? And Taylor Russolino talked about how every player had the exact same opportunities. We had Trey Watson on. They said how every player had the same opportunities. You guys had, well, how do you say his name? One of my favorite players, Patrick.
Jaquez Patrick.
Yeah. He said every player had the same exact advantages. Each team had the same exact advantages.
Yeah, so, I'll tell you where the disadvantages were. The only place, coaching.
Yeah, and there you go.
That was it. Everything else, it was a level playing field. It was a level, like Jan said a little while ago. I was trying to figure out how to kind of point in that direction.
You were pointing.
He hit it right. I was pointing every other direction almost. He hit it right on the head. He said, it's not like one division was set up to be weaker. The drafting process was fair. Everything was on equal footing with the exception of the head coaches. I don't think it's a coincidence. Philip has said it before, and I agree with him 100%, that the teams that were in the playoffs were the experienced head coaches.
Absolutely.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And I mean, look, and again, I'm going to go back to this, and Philip, a point that you had made. We talked about, me and Arlington talked about this. Out of the 40 games that we had, for the XFL season, okay? I'm going to go by 8 points. I'm going to go by 9 points because that's the most you could score in a game, right? Oh, it was 32 games were considered.
Yes.
Were won by 9 or less points. 9 or less points. You don't see that in other leagues.
Nope.
No, every game, the outlier were the games that were out of hand or blowouts or however you want to refer. And that's been a great thing about the XFL season. This is really a minor thing because ultimately the current system, the way it's set up, or my system, that is the right one, either way, you will probably end up with 2 teams out of each division most of the time. Most of the time you will have teams that step up into that second position in both of the division. So ultimately, this would be an outlier 5 years down the road anyway.
Right, exactly.
In either system. This isn't going to happen every year where you have a 4-6 team get in and a 7-3 team sitting out. It's just the way it worked out this year, and so it's caused lots of things for us to talk about on shows and people to talk about on social media. It doesn't matter. We all knew the score at the beginning of the year. You gotta be second in your division. And believe me, in San Antonio, we would have loved that if a kick flies about 2.5 feet one direction. We would have loved that.
Let's not talk about Mr. Parker Romo. I don't want to talk about him because
greatest kicker in the history of the XFL 3.0. Greatest kicker.
You do realize hold on.
True statement, Dirty.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
It
absolutely is.
No, it is not. The greatest kicker in the XFL was on our show last Thursday, in Mr. Taylor Russolino in the XFL.
He's good.
Yes, right,
He's no Parker Romo.
Yes, he is. That win in the Alamo Dome with you guys doing that wave, right, is terrible. So maybe if you guys wouldn't do the wave while the offense is on the field, maybe that ball wouldn't have been moved over 2 feet. You might have won that game. Just saying.
Oh, God. Please don't give them more ammunition to cry and whine about the wave. Please stop.
Well, hey, you guys did it with your dumb wave. I mean, listen, the wave is better than beach balls and blow-up dolls in the stands. I'll give you guys that one. That's what we had here in St. Louis. Hopefully we don't see that in San Antonio.
Blow-up dolls.
Oh, yeah. They're idiots throwing around blow-up dolls, right? Yeah. Exactly, good doctor. The wave is better than blow-up dolls and beach balls. I 100%. Yeah, Romo was consistent. But they do play in a dome. Taylor Russolino doesn't play in a dome. But listen, the San Antonio fans just don't do the wave while they're on offense. And Battlehawk fans, don't cheer for your team while they're on offense and have them have a false start. Way to go, guys.
We got those issues down here in San Antonio, too.
Right. Here we go. The wave sucks.
And that's Stephen Canto. No. He's in here in San Antonio. Right. No, there is a faction here. It is a hot topic of discussion.
Oh, man.
Right. It is.
Oh, man.
This is the X-Fan Show. I am the host, Dirty. I am joined by the gentleman from the Smoking Guns podcast with the Z. Oh, look at that. I got it. With the Z. They're actually the second longest running XFL show about they are the longest running show about the San Antonio Brahmas, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
I think that's true. I'm not sure.
Probably true. Not sure. Yeah.
I'm just saying, you guys.
We love those guys. The Brahma bullpen does a show. They're great. Yeah. Horns Forward. Yep. They do a solid show. We have always been fans of as many people that can be talking about the XFL, the Brahmas, or the NAL and the Gunslingers. We want all of those conversations. So we try not to put ourselves above or beyond anybody else.
I'm not throwing shade.
You can do it, but
I'm not throwing shade at anybody. I'm just we're the longest running XFL show video podcast. We are. Our show is. Sure. We've been going since 2019. This is about what's up, Marco. This is about growing the league. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying? So the
right,
more shows that are
exactly.
out there, and again, I mean, you guys may be doing your show, but it may not be their cup of tea for somebody else. So they might watch the Horns Forward show
Sure.
or the other Brahma show. You know, I
Mhm.
mean, we're not everybody's cup of tea. So watch as many shows as you can and get the information that you can. That's all I'm saying. You know?
Clearly, you're not everyone's cup of tea.
Oh, I know I'm not, but that's okay. But guess what? Come May 13th, guess who will be everybody's cup of tea? This guy right here. But anyways.
So I got to ask you, Dirty, how many days did you lay in bed crying that your boy Ben DiNucci is not going to be able to be in this championship game? Like 3 days, 2 days? How many days did you lay in bed and just sob over Ben DiNucci?
He's still mourning. You had to bring it up.
Apparently so. I've touched a nerve.
And before, because I was, RC will be joining me, not these two guys, but RC will be joining us on May 12th at the St. Louis.
The Super Podcast, right? The Super Show?
Give me an answer. Give me an answer, Sandy. Which one? Give me one. Dirty's new nickname is All Access. Okay. Thank you. Anyways, give us an answer, Sandy. I'm looking for the answers. I haven't seen it. Weeks balling. Man, these people are brutal. They are brutal. But I did.
That's your girl. That's your girl, Amanda, right there, talking about weeks balling in bed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Uh-huh. I mean, I did say that I couldn't do the Nooch dance anymore, right?
Sure.
But there is somebody who still can do the Nooch dance. You said, can you actually get a question answered on this show?
No. Sandy is saying you can actually get a question answered on this show, as
see?
opposed to some other show over there. I don't know what show Sandy might be referring to, but apparently there's shows out there where you ask a question and you get ignored.
Well, see, okay, that's why I love. I'm an idiot. I can't read. That's why Arlington reads the comments, not me, because I can't read. I'm a moron. So I mean, come on. All right. So here we go.
Speaking of answers to the question, I can answer this. One.
Okay, go for it.
Because we had a guy on our show last night that gave me the answer to the show. I cheated.
Oh, yeah.
But one offensive play that Gucci DiNucci did not play for the Seattle Sea Dragons.
All season long, one snap.
So right here, somebody just said right here, right? Dirty Carey can't do it either. But guess who can? Dirty Carey can do the Nooch dance. But I'm not going to do it. I'm going to save it till May 12th and do the Dirty Carey Nooch dance. But yes, I did. I'm still mourning over DiNucci not being in the championship, Phil. I'm glad that I didn't have to get the Nucci tattoo.
Right.
So I'm glad I didn't have to get that. No. So yes, I mean, I think it would have been great for that, But anyways, we have Luis. How do you say it again, Leo?
Luis Perez.
Did I say it right? Perez. I can't see. You can't.
Perez.
Yeah, that's
Perez.
You got it. You nailed it, Dirty. Perfect.
Perez. Is that how you say it?
Perez.
What?
Perez. Close enough.
Let's go with that.
Yeah.
I'm going to be interviewing the dude, so I got to know how to say his name right. So, Leo, you're going to have to give me lessons before Thursday.
Yeah, we might have to do that.
The mayor says, say Pez candy with an R. Perez.
That was close. That was actually kind of close.
Perez. I'll figure it out sooner or later. Oh, God, here we come. Look, I'm in trouble now. I come on here and you're already acted up. Yeah,
He needs you, man.
What else is new, Daddy?
We're trying to keep him in line, but you know this guy.
Yeah, here he goes. Look, see. Perez.
Say ped. P-E-D.
Ped.
Say ped, right?
Ped.
Now add ez at the end.
Ez.
Yeah, ped ez.
Perez.
Close enough.
Speaking of,
hold on, I got to do the plug. Welcome to the X Fan Show. We are broadcasting in the X Fan Studios. I am Dirty. Right there next to me over here is Leo from the Smoking Guns podcast with the Z. You can catch them on Monday nights. And right below him is his cohort in crime, and you can see he's got his name right there, Smoking Guns C with the Z podcast. Shut up, Arlington. Oh God, now we're gonna call my mommy. Oh shit, I'm in trouble now. Oh. Anyways, we were talking about the championship that is coming up and everything that is going on. So, Phil, what were you getting ready to say?
well, so you talked about being conflicted way back when we started talking about the championship. I got to tell you, I have never been more conflicted about a game in my life.
I know.
Because I am from North Texas, not all that far from the Arlington area in the long run. I love Luis Perez. I am any and all things Texas. I always have been. And yet, Bob Stoops is the coach of this team. And Bob Stoops in another championship game, I have to lean into my favorite show of all time, Breaking Bad, and I just have to look at Bob Stoops and say, he can't keep getting away with it. He can't keep getting away with it. He keeps winding up in championship games that stop it. Please make it stop.
Well, I mean, he must be doing something good.
What? What? He what?
Well, they beat Houston. They beat Houston to get there.
Yeah?
They did beat Houston. Wade Phillips being Wade Phillips. And, but we had Brian Folkerts on the show last night, former commander back in the AAF, former Battle Hawk for you guys in 2020. Had a great time with him. If you have some time today, go listen to that episode where we talk with Brian Folkerts, a guy who really sounds like, I didn't say this while he was on the show because I didn't want to put him on the spot too much, but a guy that sounded to me like this is his final playing game, just the way he talked. And knowing that and hearing that, I'd love to see Arlington win, if for no other reason than Brian Folkerts is a guy who has spent his whole life playing a game that he loves and has never held a championship trophy, and I would love to see that for him.
Now, Phil, one of your favorite things on this show is when I talk stats.
God, are we doing stats?
When I talk stats, Phil, you love it, right?
I think I've got a pillow over here somewhere.
It's the greatest thing in the world. I actually pulled some stats up for you, Phil.
Yay!
Okay.
For me specifically?
All right, Leo. I'm going to remove Leo real quick so he can take care of his thing. So I'm going to pull up some stats.
All right.
For Phil.
Let me get comfortable.
Okay, get comfortable, Phil. Now, the two quarterbacks that we got going on, right? Yes, dirty math. Arlington goes, dirty math. Jesus, I'm gone. Now, in 10 games, Jordan Ta'amu threw for 1,894 yards, 143 to 223, 8.3 yards of completion rating at a 62.4, 14 and 3 touchdowns, right? Now, hold on. Luis Perez. Did I say it right?
I'm sorry. Are you still talking?
Perez. I will figure it out. RC goes, don't talk to me about attendance or geographics.
No,
Arlington goes, hell no. But anyways, Mr. Luis only played 8 games and threw for 1,600 yards, 149 to 224, 7.3 with a 66.5. Touchdowns, interceptions, 9-7, right?
Perez is the kind of guy that can throw you 5 touchdown passes or 3 pick sixes. Like
exactly.
he can win you a game, but he can also lose you a game.
Yes, he can. I will absolutely agree with you. And like me and Arlington have said and stated before, that he is possibly one of the smartest. Leo is. Well, I'll wait till he gets his. He's got to turn his hat backwards, though.
How smart is Luis?
His hat backwards.
How
Got to turn
smart
your
is
head backwards, Leo, before you can come back on.
how smart is Luis Perez? Let me tell
Very
you.
smart.
Let me tell you. One of those Arlington Renegades wins that he needed to get into the championship game, he won them as a member of the other team. He threw 2 pick sixes against Arlington when he was with the Vipers, giving them the win in Arlington. He plays the long game. He knew the whole time that he needed that win to get into the championship game, and he won that game for the Renegades as part of the Vipers.
See, now
that
RC's
is a
yelling
quarterback
at me.
right
Look at this.
there.
Now RC's yelling at me. You have the accent in the wrong spot. Say Perez.
You keep putting it on the ez, and it's not on the ez. It's on the pear.
Perez.
Nope.
Screw it. I'm done. Screw it. I'm done.
We'll move on.
I'm just done. I'm giving up. I'm tapping out, coach.
Let's call him Luis.
That's exactly what I'm going to call him. Mr. Luis, smartest quarterback in this spring football. I mean, look, and like Juan says right here, the scheme in Vegas did not compliment Luis. I 100% agree with that, right?
Yeah.
100% agree with that. I honestly think that if he would have been in Arlington a lot sooner than those last 3 games, right? This could have been a different team. Could have been a very, very different team.
Mm-hmm.
And the record could have been a lot doing. He goes, why are you being I get a text message from Arlington. He goes, why are you being such an a-hole? I'm not being an a-hole. I just literally cannot say the name. I literally cannot say his last name. I'm sorry. Mr. Luis, I am sorry. I apologize to you, sir, that I cannot say your last name. I am an idiot. Call him Louis. Why would I call him Louis?
It's part of Luis. I don't know. Luis. Yeah, Louis isn't any shorter than Luis, right?
I could barely say Luis.
Yeah, but you said it. That's perfect.
Right, that's true. I can barely say my own name.
That's why you go by Dirty, right?
Right, exactly. That's why I go by Dirty. And I just think this game is going to be a lot closer than people thinks it's going to be.
For sure.
I agree. I think it's going to be a close game.
I mean, when I watched that Houston game, when I went back and watched that Houston and Renegades game for the South, I was like, this is a totally different team. And when I watched them against DC, where they took DC to a tie and then lost it in overtime, right, Sandy, you're right. I can't even say my own last name. You're right. I can't. I mean, right here, Juan, you said, look at week 9. I absolutely agree with you. I don't think this game is going to be a blowout as everybody does. And here's what I hope. I hope we get an overtime in a championship game.
That would be cool. One thing that I haven't seen anybody mention or talk about is, this is an away game for both teams, but really it's going to be more, in my opinion, like a home game for Arlington, because you would expect that there's going to be a lot more Arlington backers in the Dome than there will be for DC. I would think, with the proximity of San Antonio to the Dallas area, you would think there's going to be a lot more fans in that Dome. And if you haven't been in the Alamo Dome, which everyone on this show right now has, you know that Dome gets really loud, and it doesn't take 50, 60,000 people to make it loud. It gets really loud in there, and if there's 15, 20,000 Arlington fans in there, it's going to be like a home game for Arlington.
Hold on, Phil. Let me say this, right? I'll say this. I went to every Battlehawk game except one, right? I went to when they played in Seattle. I went to when they played in San Antonio, right? I'll say this. Out of all of those stadiums, I'll put Seattle at number 1 because, I mean, even with the 15,000 for that game, it was, me and the mayor were literally sitting right next to each other, and we had to yell, talking to each other. It was that loud in Seattle.
It is built to amplify sound. Yeah. Like the stadium is built that way in Seattle.
And I will put the Alamo Dome at number 2. At that first game that I was at where it was 24,000, right? And then watching your other games and listening to your crowd, I will put it at number 2, and then I would put the Battle Dome at number 3 as the 3 loudest stadiums in the XFL. I mean, hands down. That's exactly how I would put it. You know, and like the mayor says here, neutral fans will ride with the hot hand. You know, oh, here goes it. Look, Daddy Ed saying you're officially smoking something now. Unless you've been to Seattle, let me tell you, unless you've been to Seattle and the Alamo Dome, I love, you know, they're loud. It's very loud in there.
So
you know?
We have to say something here before this happens to put a kibosh on this whole thing that's fixing to pop up. Because if Arlington wins this game, there is going to be a certain sect of people that come out and go, of course Arlington won. It was all scripted from the beginning. Look at where the hub is. Look at the jersey that Dwayne Johnson is wearing at the inaugural game. Look at look at how they got in the playoffs, even though they didn't belong there. Like, let me shut that down right now. If that is you, if you're one of those people, if Arlington wins, it's going to say, hey, this thing is all fixed. You need to turn off this show right now, take all of your XFL merchandise and get rid of it and walk away. We don't want you. We don't want you around if that's going to be your attitude. This isn't fixed. It is what it is. Arlington could win the championship, and all the rest of that is nothing but a coincidence. Stop it.
Look, the hyena said it for me.
Yeah.
The hyena said it for me. Sandy goes, it's already being said. The good doctor says Arlington is not winning. I don't know, doctor. What Juan says, but I'll take out the one word. Juan said it's not scripted. They played these games, not The Rock. RC has said, I haven't heard that. The good Jarrett says, I like the Cinderella story. I hate the sports are rigged BS. Please go away. Okay, again, here I'm gonna stop it right now. Right. The good doctor says, bet your house on DC. I'm gonna stop it right now for you. Okay, let me hold on. See, this is why I'm all confused because now I'm getting irritated. Right. If this was scripted,
this is the key right here. Listen to this, man.
If this was scripted, the XFL would have had 2 teams in there. It would have been that team.
Yep.
And this team.
Yep.
Because look at where the championship game is. This fan base wants to talk about how we got our participation trophy award for we got the largest attendance. Good, we got a participation trophy. Yay for us. If it was scripted, it would be those 2 teams right there. That's what it would be in this championship game if this stuff was scripted. This isn't scripted. Like Mike says right here, let's throw out the 4-6 agenda out the window. Arlington beat Houston, a team that could have won this championship. They deserve their spot in their championship.
For sure.
Yeah.
There you go. And like right here, the mayor goes, then why do I have Dean Blandino on my box cards? So this isn't scripted, so get over it. These guys, every 8 teams started on the equal footing. You got to love it. You know, Phil comes on my show, he's got his phone ringing. But when he does his show, his phone's not ringing.
There he goes. To insinuate the whole scripted thing, I mean, that's really an offense to the professionalism of each and every one of these players that's out there, you know, sweating and bleeding and putting in work and playing hurt. If this is all part of some Hollywood script, these guys would not be doing that. These are professional athletes. They're not actors. They're not in there running some script. They're not out there risking literally their lives, because football is a dangerous sport. You know, people can die playing this sport. It's happened. Yeah. They would not be out there doing this for some sort of Hollywood script. Come on, just stop.
When I was in high school, I was terrible about not doing my homework and then getting to the last week of the 6 weeks of the grading period and then doing tons of extra credit and crying and trying to get my teachers to just give me a passing grade.
Mhm.
And I discovered if I just did the work throughout the time, it was easier than taking 5 weeks off and trying to fit it all in the 6 weeks. In the same way, scripting professional sports would be more difficult than just playing professional sports. Everything that has to work together for scripted professional sports is ridiculous.
Mhm.
And it's just not happening. So when and if Arlington wins this game, I don't want to hear it. If you're one of those people that's got that loaded and in the chamber and ready to fire, walk away. Just walk away now and leave this thing behind because you're not a fan of it.
Right. So, like, I mean, right here, he says these are the same people that love making up conspiracies. They're buzzkills. They want the league to fail anyways. You're actually root. The good doctor right here says, as a sports writer, I could tell you there is no doubt that some sports have been scripted. I mean, maybe. I mean, like right here, boxing matches, McGregor and Connor scripted, maybe. But I mean, this is what we got to look at though in this game.
Those
Okay,
scripted,
go on.
just to rebut that, those scripted, if you're gonna contend about those types of things, those are where the players out there, the guys taking part in it, are making huge paychecks. They're putting themselves on the line, a blemish on their career. But if it's scripted, they're certainly not putting anything health wise, their well being, and they're getting huge paychecks for it. These guys are not. They're in no way, shape, or form making a lot of money to be out there. There's too much pride and professionalism out there for them to do that for what they're getting. It doesn't work in this type of situation. So that argument does not apply.
Well, I see it, and the good doctor says you're absolutely right. Okay. Juan says right here that this is playoff football. Your regular season doesn't matter. You're absolutely right. I remember when the Steelers, way back in the day, went in as a wild card in the 6th seed, never hosted a home game, and won the Super Bowl. Here we go. Finally, dirty two guys who have common sense. Yeah, sure, whatever. And again, Phil loves when I give stats. Phil loves when I get stats, but here's one thing we didn't realize, and I don't know if you guys realized it, right? These are two of the best these are two teams that have the best rushing offenses in the league. With Abram Smith and Devontae Smith, right? In my opinion, Abram Smith, who should have been the player of the year, in my opinion.
I won't argue with you there.
That's just my opinion. He should have, but I understand why they gave it to Jordan. Those last 5 weeks that Jordan did were just unbelievable. I mean, Jordan played almost near perfect football in the last 5 weeks. So, like I said, I think this game is really going to come down to who is controlling the ball at the end of this game, right? Who is going to have the better time of possession in this game is what it's really going to be. I mean, for me, it's going to be very, very hard to pick this game, 100%. It's going to be a hard time to pick this game. That's all I have to say about that.
I think the game comes down to, look, there's a lot of great players on the field, but the game comes down to two players. It comes down to Abram Smith and Luis Perez. And depending on what kind of game those two guys have, that's where your game's going to go. If Abram Smith is on his game and they can't stop him in Arlington, this game is over. If Luis Perez comes out and has one of those 5 touchdown days instead of those 3 pick 6 days, it might be over for Arlington. But it's gonna and the best case scenario for us as XFL fans is if both of those guys come out and they're firing on all cylinders.
Yes,
because then we're gonna have a great game and it's not gonna matter who wins.
Right, like right here.
Enjoy it.
What Juan says, look at the interior lineman for Arlington. We got a 50 yards rushing in week 9.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I mean, it's really going to come down to that, So it's going to be really interesting to see how this is going to go. So we got about 10 minutes left. I want to get you guys' thoughts because, they announced the all XFL team.
They did.
But let's get to it.
How come there were no San Antonio Brahmas on the offensive side of the All XFL team? I don't understand.
I don't
completely
either,
biased.
But
It's rigged. It's scripted. The whole thing is rigged.
Anybody who watched Brahmas football knows exactly why there's no one on the
No
offensive
doubt.
right
side.
here, like the mayor says, keep your eyes on Reggie Northrup. He is a true fighter. Now, let's go with the pick. You guys ready? Let's go with the pick. Okay. Who are you guys going with? Who wants to start?
Against my better judgment, I am picking Arlington.
Okay. Leo?
Arlington.
See,
Ooh.
I'm gonna go with the St. Louis Tide, and because I have the man crush, I have the man crush on Jordan Ta'amu. Apparently, that's what everybody says. Sandy said it for me, and the connection to St. Louis with Greg Williams and Mike Shannon. I'm gonna go with DC. I'm gonna go to DC. I disagree with that score. I do not think it's gonna be 32 to 6 at all. I'll talk about I'll give our score on Thursday afternoon, but I don't think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a very close game, but I'm going to go DC for sure. What is this? He goes, Juan says, watch year 2 and see who stays. San Antonio's defense is something to be reckoned with. I will give it to that. San Antonio.
For sure. And we had 4 all XFL guys on the defense. And then John Parker Romo, somebody asked if Romo was all XFL offense. He was the all XFL kicker because he is the best kicker in the history of the XFL 3.0.
Agreed.
Oh, here we go. Somebody says right here, Sabrina says, Arlington because they have too many former Battlehawks. Okay. All right. There we go. Somebody's going with you guys. And Mike says, would have loved if the awards were shown on ESPN+. I think there's a lot of things we'd have loved to see from this XFL iteration.
Dry run season.
Right, dry run season. We've said it, dry run season. So let's get to it. The all XFL offense. Of course, I mean, I kind of disagree with this one. As much as I love Jordan, you guys are going to be shocked when I say this. Are you ready?
Yeah.
I think it should have been A.J. McCarron. Since Jordan won the Offensive Player of the Year, I think it should have been A.J. McCarron.
I'm actually surprised that either the Offensive Player of the Year or the quarterback of the All XFL team was not actually Ben DiNucci. I feel like he did enough to grab one of those 2 slots. And I'm very surprised that they picked the same player for both of those. A.J. McCarron was adequate and led his team adequately and even good. He wasn't great, but he was good all season long.
Phil, do you want stats? Do you want stats,
No,
Phil?
No, I do not.
You want stats, Phil?
Unequivocally do not want stats at all.
All right, Leo. I mean, who do you think it should have been?
I mean, I think it should have been Abrams.
Okay.
You're talking for,
no.
for offensive player
for offensive player of the year.
Player of the year, yeah. I think.
Oh, okay. Abrams. I do too.
That's fair.
Abrams Smith,
fair.
yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, on the quarterback, do you think it should have been Jordan Ta'amu? I kind of agree with Phil. I don't think he should have gotten both of the awards. I don't think he should have.
Yeah, no, both of the awards, I would agree, not. But one or the other, sure. I wouldn't argue against quarterback. That it was Ta'amu, but. I could see an argument for DiNucci as well, had it not been for the turnovers. But because of the amount of turnovers he had, I think Ta'amu is perfectly fine to win that award. I won't argue against it.
Sandy says that you definitely do want the stats, Phil.
I do not.
You sure?
Clearly.
You sure, Phil? You don't
want to clearly say I do not want.
Okay.
That's that.
Jared says it should have been Abrams Smith as player of the year. Again, I agree. Now, running back of the year. They say Abrams Smith. I
no
can't argue
brainer.
with that.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't. Can anybody argue with that?
No.
Anybody who wasn't watching, maybe.
Yeah, if anybody that argues that Abrams Smith wasn't the running back of the year, you're an idiot, and you should just drive on oncoming traffic. That's just that's all I got to say.
Whoa.
Right, yeah. I'm just saying. Okay. Now, we go to wide receivers. We have Dante Burnett from the Roughnecks. No Hands Butler from St. Louis. Lucky Jackson from D.C. And my boy Jay Peasy from the Sea Dragons. There was one person I would take off of this list.
I was surprised to see Hakeem Butler on there. I didn't know
Thank
they put you. I didn't know they put you on the all XFL team for dropping the ball. I didn't know that.
I agree.
Yeah. I think we all agree.
I agree with this. I mean, I get why you put them all on there, okay? But, you know, there might have been another guy on the Sea Dragons that actually had a really good season as a receiver that should have been on that list. Or there might have been another guy in Orlando that had a really good season in Christian Rambo. That should have been on that list. You know what I'm saying? I mean, other than Butler, I mean, I get why you put Butler on there. He was the leading guy for St. Louis. I get it, right? But in my opinion, you drop too many passes, that kind of takes you. And to me, he's more of a tight end type player, not a wide receiver. That's just how I agree. I mean, oh, you're right, so RC. We're getting ready to that. You're right. We're getting ready to that one. So I mean, anybody you guys would add or take away from the list?
I was just gonna say. So you're saying Blake Jackson, you think deserved a spot on there?
Oh, hell yeah. I definitely think Blake Jackson deserved a spot. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
I would agree.
Phil?
No, I think they did. I mean, okay. There's always argument with these lists and with these honors. You start looking at things and you go, well, why this guy and not that guy? Certainly, we all have question marks about Hakeem Butler, but let's be honest. He did drop a lot of passes. But when he caught it, it was something of beauty. Like, it was fun to watch Hakeem Butler play, even though he was dropping the ball a lot. So yeah, I mean, see why he ends up there. I just wouldn't have put him there myself.
Right. Chris Blair, that Chris Blair should have been on that list, in my opinion. So, all right, you guys ready for the tight end?
No surprise here.
No, I cannot disagree. Cannot disagree with Cody Lattimore.
No.
100%.
Yep. He definitely made an impact for his team.
Cody Lattimore is definitely one of those guys you look at and you go, this guy will probably be playing on Sunday more likely than not.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not even going to try some of these offensive line guys' names because I'm kind of an idiot and I always mess them up. So, yeah.
Well, you know Jared Jones-Smith.
Well, I know Jared Jones-Smith, but what's his name? Fordell from the DC Defenders, Steven Gonzalez, Jared Jones-Smith, Colin Kelly from the Sea Dragons, Alex, whatever his name is, from the Houston Roughnecks.
Mollett.
Yeah, Mollett. And then, look, in my opinion, too many Battlehawk guys on this list. In my opinion, this entire list should be all Defenders offensive line. Because, hands down, the best offensive line in all of the XFL.
You're not wrong. Yeah, I would agree with that for sure.
Look, hands down, the best offensive line in the entire XFL was the DC Defenders, and they should be, every single name should be on that list.
Sure.
Hands down. Anybody disagree?
No.
Nope.
Yeah,
no.
See right here. As a unit.
As a unit, absolutely. Best unit.
Sure.
Yeah. So we're all in agreement?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
There you go. So let's go to
Dirty's not used to this, I don't think.
I know, right? Let's go to the defense then. The very first name that sticks out to me, right? Drew Beasley.
Beast. Absolute beast the whole year.
Yeah.
Dude is a monster.
Yes.
Possibly, in my opinion, the best defensive player in the XFL. Van, I get it. I get that Colin Kelly was. I get it that he was solid. I get it. I get why you got to give it to other players. But in my opinion, the offensive line for the Defenders should have been there. I mean, Ricky Prohl, I could see putting Austin Prohl on there, but he didn't play the last 2 games because for some reason we don't know why he didn't play. I get it. I mean, I can see why you'd put Austin Prohl on there. He did do good.
I see Mike Tackett's question asking
Right here.
about the letdowns. I would say absolutely yes for Josh Gordon. I don't think he was nearly as impactful a player as people were hoping for. I would not qualify Philip Lindsay as a disappointment for the simple fact that he was brought in mid-season and I don't think had as much an opportunity to make an impact as if he were brought in early. So I wouldn't say that about him yet.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And see, and I mean, again, right here, I don't consider Gordon a letdown. I don't. And you're right here, he was constantly double coverage and all that stuff.
That's
right?
true.
So, I mean, okay. So I agree with the Drew Breesley for sure. Dude, beast mode right here. Beast mode. What a motor right there. Right.
Yeah. Big motor.
Yeah.
Big time.
Devin Bellamy from the Defenders. Again, I agree with that. I can't disagree with that. Played great. You had the kid from Seattle. I can't the Samoan kid, Austin, whatever his last name is, from the Sea Dragons. Played a hell of a great game. Yes. A lot of great games. Jack Helfin from the Roughnecks played very good. Devontae Lambert from the Renegades. You had Patton from the Orlando Guardians, and then my other man I loved, Mr. Scott from the Brahmas.
Yeah, Delonte Scott. He's
yes. I mean, we lost Phil. You can't beat it. You can't beat it. You know.
Yeah,
I agree with all of those guys on there.
Yeah, those are definitely all solid picks. You can't really argue against. I know you were a big fan of Delonte Scott. We kind of talked about him, I think, midway through the season, where you were kind of making some picks, and he was definitely a disruptive force for the Brahmas, and a big reason of why the Brahmas games were usually low scoring, and as bad as the Brahmas offense was, they wore in just pretty much every single game right to the end because of that defense. And Delonte Scott was a big reason for that. Him and Barku, for sure.
Yeah, hands down. Hands down. Linebackers, you have Trent Harris, which I agree with the Roughnecks, and then the Pia, whatever kid, the other kid, Pia, whatever, however you say his last name, from the Vegas Vipers, and then another guy for the Brahmas, Jordan Williams, linebacker.
Jordan Williams, yep.
I mean, Jesus. All right, Phil's back. We got Phil back. What's up, Phil?
I'm back.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about the linebackers: Trent Harris, Pita from the Vipers, and Jordan Williams from the Brahmas. I can't argue that. I cannot argue that one either for linebackers.
Jordan Williams made the most important play in San Antonio Brahmas season when he popped up and intercepted the ball in the last 2 minutes of the first half of the game against DC. I realized the game did not end up being the result that we wanted, but it wouldn't even have been close. DC runs away with that game if they score in the final 2 minutes of that first half. Jordan Williams made the play that saved the season, at least for another half of football in that moment.
Right.
Jordan Williams, spectacular.
Right. Now we go to the defensive backs. You got Anderson from the Vegas Vipers of Shining. Deontay Adams, or however you say his name, Anderson from the Vipers, possibly one of the best players on the Vipers team that really played very well for the Vipers. Then you have Luca Barco, again, from the Brahmas.
Yep.
I mean, you can't argue it. And then Argene Harris from the Roughnecks, you can't argue that. I'm a little on Hill from St. Louis. Ugh. He had some good games. I don't think he should be on the list. He had some good games, but I don't think he should be on the list. And then you have Michael Joseph from the DC Defenders. I like it. I just don't think Hill should have been on the list, but I get why they put him on there.
Yeah, I can't really argue with any of that. I would be upset if you didn't have Michael Joseph on there. He started out the season so hot that I feel like people forgot about him toward the end of the season because he wasn't pulling in 2 interceptions per game. He was still playing at an incredibly high level, and teams were just kind of going away from him because he was that dangerous. And that's what you need out of a defensive back.
Leo?
Yeah, I think I think they're all solid picks. Barku and literally took off half the field every game. So
yeah, he did.
so
That dude's
yeah,
motor was nuts. Nuts. Yeah, like right here. For Joseph, it was injuries that kind
Yeah.
of
that slowed him down.
Mm-hmm. Now, I mean, I know we're all going to disagree on this one for the kickers. It should have been Taylor Russolino, but
No disagreement. Nope,
Parker Romo
we're good.
gets it.
John Parker Romo,
It
greatest kicker in the XFL 3.0.
Yeah, should have been Taylor Russolino. Punter Daniel Whelan should have been Marquette King, and then Darius Shepard. I can't argue with that for the return specialist. Yeah, Darius Shepard. Yeah, can't argue that. So I think they got it wrong. And now listen, this is the actual list. This is the real list. This isn't the fake list where it's out there that the Alabama Times has picked up that A.J. McCarron is the MVP, which he isn't. That's Jordan Ta'amu, because they're not having an MVP award. It's only an offensive player award. No offense. Just saying, this is the actual list on the XFL.com. Now, we are in overtime. And I got hit with a random today at work, so I have to go pee in a cup here very soon. Oh. So we're going to talk about something. This Friday, May 12th, is the X-Fan Legion Super Show. It is the X-Fan Show, B-Hawk Live, Smoking Guns Podcast, Horns Forward, Standing Guard, many more. So you guys are in San Antonio. I will be there in San Antonio. The show starts at 6 o'clock. Tell people that are in the San Antonio and people that are coming into the area why they should go to Alamo Beer Company to watch our show and why they should come hang out with us.
There's just no better place to hang out with a group of people than Alamo Beer Company. They are not paying me to say this. They are not a sponsor of my show or of Dirty Show, but I'm telling you, we've had watch parties out there for the Gunslingers. We have had events out there for the Brahmas. We've had events out there for the Commanders back in the day. They've created beers for the Commanders, for the Gunslingers, also for the Brahmas. Dirty has that right there. Incredible food. They have a brisket grilled cheese sandwich. Absolutely amazing. And then what were you talking about last night, Leo? Their peach.
Cider? I saw a comment earlier of like why, obviously it was someone who was not a San Antonio Brahmas fan. It was for another team. And they're saying, why would anyone want to drink that Brahma beer, drink Lone Star or whatever? Hey,
because it's really good.
It is actually really good, this the Brahma beer. But what Alamo Beer Company stresses is they don't say drink Brahma's beer. They say drink local. And it is a local brewery. They have many different flavors, different types. They have wine if you're more of a wine person. But the beer is actually really good. Whatever your taste might be, if you like a dark beer, they have a really interesting coconut-based dark beer that was very strong and actually pretty good if you like that sort of thing. They had a peach peach what do you
cider,
call it?
Right?
Cider, yes.
Yeah.
That was really crisp and really tasty. Also very strong. They have a mango beer, all different types of flavors. It's a local brewery, all made right there in-house. Very good selection, and it's good stuff. And then good food, nice open seating. So yeah, come out. If someone said, why would I want to spend a Friday evening with Dirty? There's going to be a lot of other people there. There'll be RC.
Right. There will be other people, not just Dirty. Don't not come because Dirty is there. I understand.
RC says they have lots of room inside and outside, kid-friendly, clean bathrooms, and bouncy house. The good doctor says, I'm sold on the bouncy house. Hell, I might even just do the whole show from the bouncy house.
Oh.
Well, you guys are all inside. I'll be bouncing in the bouncy house myself, right? RC goes, lots of TVs, great staff. Love Felicia and Eugene. I will be there representing the X-Fan Show. Amanda and Daddy Ed will be there. I have invited the Markcast. He is he's going to try to make it. I don't know if he'll make it for the broadcast. But listen, anybody who does a show about the XFL, if you're in town on May 12th, from 6 o'clock till probably 7:30, 8 o'clock. You are more than welcome to come down and join us, do the show. If you're a fan, you are more than welcome to come and hang out with us, because we will be there watching, doing stuff after the show and stuff. So please come out, because this is something that's never been done before. Never been done. I mean, we are basically started our own Radio Row for the XFL.
Yeah.
Is basically what we've done. So you're more than welcome. Anybody is more than welcome to come join us. What is the address again, Leo?
The address is
202 Lamar. Did I do that from memory?
202 Lamar Street, San Antonio, Texas 78202. Alamo Beer Company.
Right. Now, let's hope I can make it to the place I have to go to before I pee my pants. And, let's hope, which it's like 10 minutes away. So I better not go to the bathroom now, because then I won't be able to go afterwards. But this is the X Fan Show. I am one of the hosts. Dirty Arlington is sick. Get wet better, buddy.
Get better fast,
right next to us right there. Oh, and RC says
Arlington.
Lots of parking,
And it's free. And downtown
it's free,
San Antonio.
Lots of free parking, Here's to hoping for the 2020 championship in St. Louis. Let's hope. I don't think so. Don't think so. But let's hope. But that is Leo from Smoking Guns Podcast with a Z. Right below him is his host. He does not want the stats. Philip from the Smoking Guns Podcast with the Z. You can find them on Facebook and all that. You can see RC Friday with us, May 12th, Alamo Beer Company, 202 Lamar Street, San Antonio.
Yep.
Oh, look at that, Phil. I got it. And Mr. Luis
Perez. Close.
Payez. I will see you Friday. With that being said, this is the X Fan Show. Let me get to my screen. See, I don't have my guy here. And we are out.